smart way to learn about wine. I'm back again, and now I have with me Marcel De Reuck to chat about his wine. If the live broadcast goes a little woozy, please bear with us, because that's the joys of doing live television. And of course, if it goes a little funny, we'll come back and reconnect with you. But we're also doing this on a video so that we can post that a little bit later. So I'm going to turn the camera toward Marcel De Reuck, the wine, and Marcel De Reuck, the man. There you have it. Right, Marcel, so we can chat a little bit about what we have in front of us. First of all, I'd just like to introduce Marcel. Marcel is the owner, winemaker, icon of the farm Crow's Nest, and he is the winemaker of De Reuck wines. It's called Marcel De Reuck. Welcome, welcome, welcome.
Thank you very much, Ingrid.
I'm going to ask you, that's our camera on the other side over there, and if you can just speak up a little bit, Marcel, because sometimes the microphone doesn't quite pick up what we're chatting about. I have in front of me 4 different wines now, and this one is a rosé. First of all, before we even start the tasting, Marcel, could you perhaps just give me a little bit of history of where you started on this wine journey? Have you always been a winemaker?
No, I haven't, Ingrid. It started 15 years ago. It started as just a passion and a hobby, and we've taken it further from there. Bought the farm in late 2002, September 2002, and have been making wine ever since.
Oh, great. So where did you learn to make wine?
Well, I harvested for quite a few years and did a very short course at the University of Stellenbosch in the evenings.
Okay, so really you are self-taught, I would say, because I've also done a few short courses and a couple of long courses at various places, but I'm not a winemaker. But you're a winemaker, and that means that you've done this out of passion and you've taught yourself, basically.
Yes.
With some good friends, because I must say in the wine industry you must have friends.
Yes, of course. I've had friends that have been a blessing, really. They've taken me through a fantastic career, and we're absolutely passionate about our wine and the love of it, and the people we meet through it, because it's a very sociable product, obviously.
Absolutely, I could agree and attest to that. Sociable is what I like. So Marcel, we're sitting in this lovely cellar, your reception area here. It's very authentic, I must say. It feels like I'm in a cathedral, quite honestly. Lovely high ceiling, beautiful windows up there, these huge 2-leaved doors that we have. Did you make this, build it yourself, or how was it here when you bought the farm?
No, there was nothing on the farm. We developed it from scratch, built and even designed the cellar with a pencil on a paper serviette in a restaurant with a friend one evening.
That sounds wonderful.
And that's how it came to be.
Yes.
You know, you do silly things when you've had a few drinks, and we built this wine cellar out of that.
And you also have some very strokes of ingenuity when you've had a few toots as well, I'm sure.
Yes, of course.
Oh, good. So
yes,
now you've built the cellar. You've got a tasting area here. You also have a wine cellar where you are producing wine. I'm sitting here and I'm looking across and I see some wine barrels. Is that just your aging area where you have your wines?
Our aging and maturation area is on the one side of the tasting room, and on the other side is production. So the tasting room has been designed so you feel you're sitting inside the winery.
Oh, fantastic. So if people were to come here, that's the feel that you get, because that's what I'm getting right now, that I'm sort of part of the experience.
Yes, you certainly are. And what's nice about it being a small producer is that you come to meet the winemaker himself.
And here we have him, Marcel De Reuck, the winemaker and the owner of the farm Crow's Nest. So, Marcel, we're going to be doing a little tasting now. Let's have a look at these wines. Tell me a little bit about the first one. This is a rosé. Is this available to the public yet?
No, this is a tank sample. This will be bottled shortly and be available within the next month.
Okay.
We're sending some samples abroad already to try and pick up some exports. It's an interesting product in the sense that I quite like the color. It's not too dark, and it's a blend of early picking fruit and some late fruit for the sake of tropical flavors.
Oh, lovely.
So there's a little bit of grassiness in the beginning and a lot of tropical flavors in the aftertaste.
Mm. And what cultivar have you used here? What variety?
This is a blend of Sauvignon Blanc and Chenin.
Okay.
Mm.
Sauvignon Blanc and Chenin.
Yes, and then of course a little touch of red.
What's the red variety?
Shiraz, which is my forte and what I'm renowned for.
Okay, so you've actually blended two white varieties with the Shiraz to produce this rosé.
Quite correct.
And it is lovely. It's a 2017 vintage, so it's a wine that I would say should be drunk early, but it can also last in the bottle maybe for another year or so. Yes. What do you think?
I quite like a wine that's been aged a little bit even white. Mm. I firmly believe a white wine should be at least a year old before
consumption.
Before consumption. Some people prefer them fresh and early, but that's just a matter of palate, really.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
I like this now. It's something that I could certainly enjoy with some really nice, what's the word we use for all the meats that we kill and so forth?
Yeah. Chicory.
Oh, there we go. He says it in the right way. I'm always getting my tongue tied around that, and that simply means that you've got some nice dried meats or cured meats and so forth, and some lovely cheeses, olives and so forth. I would certainly like to have that with your charcuterie.
Yes.
There we go. Right word. And while I was when I arrived here, I looked out, although we're dressed for winter, both Marcel and I, because it is spring at the moment, but it's a rather chilly day here out in Paarl. But the view from here is absolutely stunning, and I can imagine on a beautiful sunny day it would just be fantastic to be sitting out on your veranda, or in Afrikaans we will call it a stoep, and to sit out there and enjoy the lovely rosé wine.
Yes, the views are stunning. We're on the western slopes of Paarl Mountain, facing the Durbanville, Cape Town area, and our sunsets are absolutely gorgeous.
So you get to see the sun setting from the side.
Beautiful sunsets, immaculate sunsets.
Wonderful. Well, that's fantastic. We'll certainly keep that in mind. Let's look at the next wine. What do you have?
Here we have a Shiraz 2013. I quite like it. I'm renowned for my Shirazes. It shows a lot of interesting fruit, yet the wines are picked, or the grapes, I beg your pardon, are picked very, very ripe. So instead of too much fruit up front, you get a bit of pencil shavings and flintiness on the nose, which makes it very interesting. And of course, typical Shiraz is always that smoky hand.
Well, I was just going to say, the smokiness, but it's sort of baked. To me, it's sort of a baked character that comes through.
Yes, the baking is also comes from that ripe fruit. You tend to get a little bit of jamminess that comes forward, and on the palate there's this false sense of sugar, even though it's bone dry.
Now I like that. I can taste the dryness and the fullness on the palate. And this wine is now 4 years old and drinking superbly. I rather like this one. And recommendations of food for this would be easy wine with, it's not too complex, so it will go well with a nice steak. You can serve it with your roasts, your casseroles, and dishes like that. While it does have body, it can also stand up to foods that also have some good flavors too.
Funny enough, it tends to love pecan pie for some
Wow!
It's just
Well,
taken its own fancy.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
I've always said a little red with a little sweet is not a bad thing at all. Lovely. So that's your Shiraz. In the next glass, what is this?
Here we've got something really special. It's a 10-year-old Cabernet Sauvignon Merlot.
Okay, Cab Sauv Merlot.
Yes.
So you've introduced me to a Syrah, and you've got Cab Sauv Merlot on the farm as well.
Yes,
Cabernet.
Yes. I do a straight Cabernet as well, which I'm unfortunately sold out of. This Cab Merlot is beautiful. It's 10 years old.
Wow.
I often get asked the question, Ingrid, if I may say so, which cultivar I prefer as a winemaker. And it's very unfair.
Yes.
Because if I'm looking at a shelf and it's a young wine, I'd rather pick up a Shiraz. But if there's a wine that's been down for a while, there's nothing that'll touch a Cab. Unfortunately, that's a fact.
The king of cultivars, red grape cultivars. I agree with you with that one. And certainly a 10-year-old wine is something that people are looking for these days, because so often we are getting wines that are very young and people are not allowing it to age. Of course, because aging costs money. You know, the longer you leave it in the barrel or the longer you leave it in the bottle, it takes money. So tell me what your cellar door price would be for this.
Cellar door price for these red wines are 90 Rand a bottle
For this 10-year-old as well?
as well.
My
What we
goodness.
do is I understand,
What a bargain, what a bargain.
I understand cash flow problems, and you know, if you've got this passion and this love of wine, and it's just not good enough unless it's right for the market.
You're right.
So we'll age things till perfection, and we won't release it until it's ready.
I think this one is superb right now. So how much of this do you still have available?
Unfortunately, of the Cab Merlot, not much at all. You know, we normally bottle about 1,800 bottles of each cultivar at a given time, even though they're a few batches. And this is the last batch of this specific wine.
Okay, 2007. So I'd like to tell our listeners and our audience, if you're out here in the Paarl Valley, do come into Crow's Nest and come and try some of these Marcel De Reuck wines. There is just a few of these Cab Merlot.
Cab Merlot,
2007 available, and it's an absolute bargain at 90 Rand per bottle. Right, that really is lovely. Let's move on to the last wine. What do we have here?
Yeah, this is something just as interesting. It's a Cape Ruby, a vintage Ruby, 2012, which is what would be known as a port in Portugal, but we're not allowed to call that on the label anymore.
Yeah, we can't call it port because it doesn't come from Portugal. So we do refer to it as a Cape Ruby. So this is the Ruby style port. Okay, so tell me a little bit about it. What do you have, port varieties, or what variety have you used?
I do. I've got a Tinta Amarella,
Oh, wonderful.
a small block, produces not a lot of wine, but then again with port you don't need much. You
No.
only need, it's a limited type of product. It's not the kind of thing that mass sales
Yeah.
as mass sales in the marketplace. This specific wine is very interesting because on the nose it's bone dry, and you'd sometimes even think that you're going to be drinking a dry red wine, but on the palate it is so round, soft and sugary.
Lovely.
Yes.
Lovely. It's not overly sweet at all. It really is superb, I would say. I love port just on its own. You know, a winter's day, around the fire and so forth, but also around when you're just sitting enjoying with friends some cheeses, some pretzels and things like that. Love this. What is the cost of this? What's the price of this one?
110 Rand a bottle at the cellar.
110 at
Yes.
the cellar.
Considering that it was fortified, it's a very reasonable price. We use 3-year-old brandy alcohol to fortify it, which is very interesting because the alcohol's already been matured. It's got a nice yellow-brown color from the barrels,
Right.
and it makes it's a very expensive exercise, but it's the best way to make
Your
fortified wine.
fortified. Well, I think this is really, really nice. So, Marcel, we've tasted 4 of your wines, and I must tell our audience that I've been delighted to do the exercise this morning. It was really very impromptu. I came out to the farm just to come and have a look and to investigate what's happening here at Marcel De Reuck Wines and the Crow's Nest Farm. I'm really excited about what's going to be happening at the farm in the near future, and I'm hoping that many of you are going to find your way out to the farm along the R44 on your way to Wellington. Marcel is one of those guys who does the personal thing, and he's going to really be happy to look at your needs in the future, because after all, it's all about what the client needs. Marcel tells me that he's got some super things happening very soon, and so watch the space. The Crow's Nest, Marcel De Reuck, the wine and the man. This is Ingrid Graham from Wintelligence, the smart way to learn about wine, signing off. Thank you. Till next time. Goodbye.
It's already live on Instagram and on Facebook. That's fantastic. And
Great, thank you.
But you both spoke, there was no awkwardness, it was wonderful. Really was very good. You came across very well. The only thing I wanted to get in was the diver, but I couldn't show you paper.
Yeah, the only
But
thing I
those
would have
things
liked to have added is the wine style, maybe a little bit more.
But you know what, you can do more. I love
We'll
this
do this
idea.
again.
Yeah.
You
I
see,
think it's
I mean, this is not, this is
Brilliant.
just an idea of how we, oops, it would be nice to switch off the video.